I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm Marcel, and today we're going to have a lesson on operant conditioning.
You might be wondering, what is operant conditioning?
Unlike classical conditioning, which associates between two stimuli,
Operant conditioning is where organisms associate actions with their consequences, followed by reinforcers or punishers. Operant conditioning relies on the basis of using reinforcement and punishment to change the outcome of a behavior.
punishment decreases the likelihood of the behavior to reoccur,
There are two kinds of punishment: positive punishment.
and negative punishment.
Positive punishment is when you add an aversive stimulus to decrease the likelihood of a bad behavior. An example of this is if you speed, you could be given a speeding ticket, and that decreases the likelihood of you speeding again because of that given speeding ticket.
And negative punishment is when you take away something to decrease the likelihood of a behavior to reoccur. A good example of this is if you misbehave, your parents might take away your phone to decrease the likelihood of your behavior to reoccur. Unlike a punishment, which decreases the likelihood of your behavior to reoccur, a reinforcer increases the likelihood of the behavior to reoccur.
There are two kinds of reinforcement: positive reinforcement.
And negative reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement is where you add a desired stimulus to increase the likelihood of a desired behavior. An example of positive reinforcement is if you do well on a test, say 100%, your mom could give you candy.
An example of negative reinforcement is when you take away something to increase the likelihood of your behavior to reoccur. Like when you hear a loud beeping sound in the car, you're more likely to put on your seatbelt to take away that noise, and it increases and enforces your behavior.
Now moving into schedules of reinforcement. Interval deals with time and ratio deals with number.
Fixed means set. It's either set number or set time. And variable means random, so it's a random number or a random time.
These are some examples of reinforcement schedules. So when you cross variable and ratio, it deals with a random number. So an example, a real life example of this is when gambling, after some amount of times that you pay for the slot machines, you will eventually win. And another example is when you cross variable interval, which is a random time. So at some time, you will get an Instagram notification.
And let's remember, fixed means set, and ratio refers to numbers, and interval refers to time. So when we cross fixed and ratio, we get a fixed ratio. So it's a set number. Therefore, every 10th time you go to Dutch Bros, you'll get a free coffee. And when we cross fixed and interval, it means set time, like when you have a doctor's appointment at 12 p.m.
Let's recap over operant conditioning and what we learned today. We learned about the founders of operant conditioning, who were Edward Thorndike.
Edward Thorndike came up with the law of effect.
And B.F. Skinner.
We also learned about punishments and reinforcers and how they deal with operant conditioning. Remember, if it is positive, it's when we add a stimulus, and when it's negative, we take away a stimulus.
And we also learned about the schedules of reinforcement.
So there you have it.